until sunset, and dusk until dawn. Every minute of every hour of every day. On the front line, it's key workers keeping our country moving, putting themselves at risk to keep others safe, for the vulnerable, for the sick, for the young and the old. We rise to the challenge. We care, we protect, we help, we fix, we deliver for everyone. We will get through this, and it's thanks to our key workers. We're proud to represent heroes, and not all heroes wear capes. Key workers deserve recognition, protection and support. Get us on your side. Join us today.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Sunday package for Hermes. Pleased to introduce you Steve Good, your London lead rep, your second rep Adam Salter, Susie Jenner, and Ed Cross,
Afternoon.
who has just literally done a runner. I think he's actually getting a delivery, and basically want to touch base on various issues. As ever, if you've got questions you want to bring up this afternoon, just send us a message either on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, and we'll put them up on the screen and share them and also converse on them. There are several subjects we're going to touch on today. Those include what Christmas holidays look like, because that's been a question that's been coming up. Situations over insurance, vehicle insurance, the packet racket we're going to deal with later in the broadcast as well. Also, equalities and caring for relatives. So these are all some of the aspects we're going to bring up today. There aren't any issues that will be with us, but hopefully all of these questions will be of interest to yourself that come up. If we go ahead, I'm going to ask somebody to mute out their microphone a minute. I think it may just have be sorted now. There we go. Hopefully you can hear us. So whilst we're just waiting for any questions to come in, I just want everyone just to introduce themselves from London first and foremost, and say what they do and what the value is that they bring. So if we start with Steve, and then we'll move on from there. Steve might be muted at the moment.
Hi everybody, I'm Steve Good. I'm the national rep for London area and part of the East. Basically, I want you couriers to come to me if you've got problems. I will deal with them the best of my ability. If I cannot deal with them, we've got a great team here. We will sort it one way or another. If I can't deal with it, Steve will deal with it. If we, none of us can, if I can't deal with it on my own, I've got the backing of 9 national reps, which we will come to a conclusion and an outcome if we possibly can. And that's about it, basically. As I say, I look after London, so just send your emails in to me on my activist account and I will deal with them.
Thanks very much. If I can move on to Adam. Adam may have frozen, so in the meantime, Adam, are you there now? Adam can't hear us, I don't think. I think he's got problems with his connection now, unfortunately. So if I move on to Ed and Susie.
Good afternoon, I'm Adam Salter. I'm the Deputy Rep for London Region.
Okay. There we go. Perfect. If I now move
I'm
to
here. I
Ed.
can hear you. Can you hear me?
Lovely. Yeah,
I'll
lovely. Thank you,
continue.
Adam.
Yep,
Yeah,
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
yeah, you can hear you fine. Thank you.
Oh,
Uh,
I
good.
can hear you. Let's have a look. Go.
Okay. If I move to Ed,
Hi, can you hear me?
perfectly.
Yeah, I'm Ed. I'm the chair of the national reps, so I
Can you
support
hear me fine?
Steve and Susie.
Do you want me to
Well, Adam.
continue?
Yeah.
No.
You continue, Adam. How's he gone?
His signal's dropped, I think. Yeah.
His signal's up there. Yeah, I chair the national committee. I'm also a courier, just like Steve and Susie and Adam. I'm also the rep for the Midlands and East Coast. And together with the other reps, I'm form part of the national committee. Over to you, Susie.
And I'm Susie. Probably most people know that anyway. I'm a courier. I'm the rep for the Northwestern Irish region, and I am the vice chair of the national committee.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Ed. Adam, do you want to have another bash?
I'll have another go. Good afternoon. I'm Adam Salter. I'm the deputy rep for GMV London region. I'm here to support Steve Good wherever I can. To maybe if obviously there's a lot of couriers out there, so sometimes if things get
No, I
help
think
them the best.
Adam, you may have to turn your camera off and then drive to a different location because the signal there is pretty lousy, I'm afraid.
Okay.
All right. I'm just going to remove Adam briefly from the feed just because the signal that he's got coming through isn't that brilliant, so he's going to have to move on. I am cognizant of the question that both Mark Finch has brought up and Nadine. Mark, whether you're speaking for a number of couriers or just for yourself, we will answer the questions. But Mark, what I will say is this: that this will be a forum for everyone. We'll try and answer as much as we can. I'm going to answer part of your first question myself. A presumption that somehow or another GMB union delays or avoids issues, and regarding the app and ratio of packets. Nobody is ignoring anything. The union certainly doesn't, and I think a lot of people's presumption about what the union does and how the union does things is based on some presumptions. And I don't know which depot you work for, Mark, or where you're based, but ultimately, the questions in relation to the app we're going to touch on probably a bit more this afternoon because obviously we're back to COL again, and this is a huge bone of contention for everyone. We know the system fell over. And there has been an update in the last few days. I'm sure people are going to want to ask questions on that. Only I think the system can decide on the ratio of package you receive and no one else. Isn't something that the union have much control over. That just comes on that. But Mark, I will tell you there will be a limit to the amount of questions we'll answer for everyone this afternoon. Based on time constraints, but every question will be answered. If not now, but independently. So I don't know if you're a London region member or not.
No, he's not. He's a member of Northwestern region.
Okay,
Susie's region.
Right. So theoretically, this is a London region event, which you're very welcome to. But I would say that also I want to make sure we look after London region's members with the questions that they have today as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flash some of these up, and then we want to get back into some of the other issues and just have a discussion over some of these as well. So I'm going to flash up your three questions, and then I'm going to move over to Nadine's and Kimberly's questions as well. Okay, so I don't know if it's best that I leave Ed to answer these quickly.
Right, we're not delaying anything. Okay, let's get this very straight now. At no point have we delayed anything, right? The app issues and the packet ratio. The packet ratio is actually being looked at as part of the pay claim. Steve will attest to that. He was in the meeting with us, as was Susie. As soon as we knew about the app issues, we reacted straight away. But can I just point out, the app issues are not the union's problem. They are Hermes' problem. We will represent and support our members. But if you are disgruntled about the app, you need to contact Hermes as well. Right, okay.
Now
Can we just stop? Go on, Steve. Go on.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, Mark, I've looked at number 2 as a question. If a number of couriers believe that GMB are assisting Hermes or helping in some way and are not looking out for our members, then please point those couriers to your regional officer. Ultimately, the agreement we signed is for SE Plus. Okay, a lifestyle courier can make their own decision. You've asked a secondary question over SE Plus not being voluntary anymore. Well, I think the company has made a decision that they are more comfortable with SE Plus as their primary option, except where people have got multiple rounds and it isn't pragmatic. But frankly, that is a corporate decision. That's something that a union can't get involved with and wouldn't get involved with. This is not our place. Our place is for representation when there are issues. And you brought up a question about individuals dealing with couriers' daily issues, and large issues should be dealt with by the union. Well, regional officers deal with matters on a daily basis. On behalf of couriers, I send in any number, and I realise you're not in my region, so you won't necessarily know that. But I'm going to ask you to also do one thing: stop believing everything you read on forums from other people, where people are there sent in to mix things up, because it serves no purpose. I'll let Ed go on.
Right, can I just come back to the SE Plus lifestyle app, right? And you know more about this than me, Steve. If a company wishes to change its model or the way it works, it can do so by giving amount of notice to, even if you're employed, it has to give notice and due notice. I think that's about, is it 45 days, Steve? 90 days? Mm-hmm. Right? Hermes have give 18 months notice on this, okay? Well over what they need to give us, okay? It is still voluntary. I know couriers who are still lifestyle and happy and want to be lifestyle. So there is nothing at all that says this is not voluntary, okay? It is absolutely voluntary. You will not get the benefits of SE Plus, and we as a union are pushing the benefits of SE Plus because we think it's very important to couriers, to have the protection against, when you're sick, that your work's protected, okay? Those are all benefits, paid holiday, and there are more benefits hopefully coming down the line, okay? But it's still voluntary, absolutely voluntary.
Okay, just going back to this point, the system we have is based on reps like Steve and Adam in London region going to the actual managers at regional level to find solutions, and on the whole, solutions are generally found quite quickly. There are at the moment some outstanding issues at sites such as Aylesbury, which I'm very unhappy with at the moment, and we haven't got the solutions that we need in place yet. That will not be left alone by myself, I can assure you. I want to just turn to some of the other questions that have come up. Nadine's put an issue up. We are going to be discussing the packet issue because of the continual losses that people are seeing here. And then I want to get on to Kimberly's question as well, because I think that's really important. That I have seen it, Kimberly, and we'll start to then work through the questions. So Nadine, we were going to bring this in sort of midway through the broadcast when we talk about packets, packet racket, and everything else. So if you could just give us about 15 or 20 minutes, we will return back to that. I'm just going to go on to Tracy's question now, ref round balancing, which I think dovetails into that. This is a question that probably Ed or Susie might be able to answer best about round balancing, because round balancing is going to come up again and again and again, and we need to get some clarity around this. Okay, round balancing. It is going to affect couriers. Okay, it's not going to affect everybody. And if you've not had an email telling you that your rounds are going to be balanced, then you are not affected. Okay, absolutely not.
Now, the other thing is, it is to balance rounds. Now, we have a lot of rounds in the network, and I've got couriers that are saying to me, I can't survive on 20, 30 parcels. So they are going to balance rounds. Now, the other thing that we need to remember is we do not own the rounds, okay? Hermes owns the rounds. This is a business decision from the company. We will support our members. If members are going to see a big loss or it's going to impact them massively, then they can come to us and we will support them. But can we just be very clear? This is a company decision, nothing to do with the GMB, okay? So what you read on the forum that the GMB is supporting it, we have nothing to do with it, okay? We will support our members as we always do. But we have, like I say, we have members that are trying to survive on. I have one member that came to me who's trying to survive on 19 parcels, okay? Now, this is only for peak. The rounds will be rebalanced after peak. Just want a nod from Steve and Susie, who were in the meeting and heard the company say these rounds will be rebalanced after Christmas. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's
Absolutely.
correct. Okay?
Yeah.
So some of the splits will be taken, some rebalancing will be done. It is a company decision. Again, you need to speak to your CDM as well, right? If you're not getting a conversation, which a lot aren't.
Nadine's asked, can we refuse the balance?
No, because you don't own the rounds. You do not own the rounds.
All right, thanks for that. I think there's a question here from Andre in relation to rounds that to be handed to SE Plus couriers first. That means Lifestyle could be left without work or left as cover couriers. Could be viewed as forced.
No. The company's been very clear. Right? Let's get to the facts. The company have been very clear. If you are not SE Plus, you will no longer be a round holder. Okay. Now that is a choice you have to make. Right. If you want to do your round holder, you have to be SE Plus. They have given 18 months notice on this. Okay. Right. There's no argument about this. If you then want to have a round, you will have to switch to SE Plus. If you want to remain Lifestyle, you will be a cover courier.
All right. So also there's another point that came up from Craig where he's concerned about being below national minimum wage. I was out at a location just a couple of weeks ago where there's another. Basically, what's going on is many people are saying that with the reduction in packages, they are starting to get below living wage, especially with fuel costs and everything else. I do want to touch on fuel costs and the problems that's also creating later. And this is something we're looking into. We are still also very concerned about people still doing pick who are not being paid. Sorry, I should say sort, pardon me, sort.
Yeah.
Where they're not being paid for doing that. So this is, and I'm just going to go back to this question as well. Okay, Mark Finch put a question in number 4. I think I've been pretty clear in what I've said in relation to GMB about who deals with what. As I said quite clearly, Steve and Adam deal with the general day-to-day issues, but that doesn't preclude me from dealing with them. And we have regular RDCF meetings where I'm involved and other officers like my compatriot Nicky Nixon from Southern Regions involved as an example in these engagements. And therefore, this is going on within our region. I can't speak for where you're based. All I can tell you is London region is very, very hands-on in relation to these things. We have a really active WhatsApp group. Ultimately, we deal with things pretty much head-on. That's why we've got an event like we have this afternoon, because we don't leave things hanging in the background. As Steve and Adam will tell you, I think the amount of casework that comes across our desks in a week probably is, I would say, as a minimum 15 cases, as a rough bare minimum. and that can be anything from CDM issues down to rate issues down to other issues. So in about 10 minutes we will talk about packet, I think, but also I want to just bring in the point that we're going to be also discussing insurance this afternoon. Some of you will have become aware that a courier was basically taken to court for incorrect insurance based on the fact that they had the marsh as a secondary cover policy on top of their social, domestic, and pleasure. And in terms of this insurance, we've already spoken to the company in the past with that. Sean, if the GMB is the problem, then nobody's asking you to hang around. Sean, you're very welcome to depart. Okay. There's no need for you to have to stay. Nobody's forcing you. And if you're unhappy with the GMB, just remember: A, there was nothing before. B, the 194 wouldn't have had the representation they needed. And C, frankly, you're better off in the tent than outside the tent. But Sean, nobody's holding a gun to your head to stay around. Okay, so quite simple. Mark, why would I say that? Because frankly, there's this presumption that somehow or another that we should be on bended knee in situations like this. We're here to serve members and do our very best, but ultimately trying to make claims where you don't actually understand GMB structure, the work that we do, the work that officers do or members do, much like the same who are here unpaid on a Sunday afternoon. Then that's it. Sean, if you feel that's the truth, you're welcome to depart the broadcasters. Obviously, there's no value in your being around. So that's sorted once and for all, isn't it? As far as I'm concerned, that I'm not going to mess around over these things. We're here to serve those who are interested this afternoon, not those who are here to try and be clever or think that they're doing something clever on behalf of others, and I won't have it. It's as simple as that. Okay, so
Totally agree,
we're here to answer questions and deal with issues. And I won't make any apologies for the response I've just given right now. Ultimately, there are a lot of people who need backup. They need somebody to advocate for them. If you think you know better, I'm with you now, Mark. Sorry. Mark Webber said, no, why would he say that? You've always helped me. Well, I can't speak for that. But ultimately, if he's not happy with the service from the union, nobody's making him stay. Okay. I prefer people who want the help when they need it. The union is here as an insurance most of the time against issues that come up. We're also here to make sure that we put, all of our heart and soul into things such as the insurance issue we're going to bring up. Is everything perfect? No. It takes time to build up relationships, even with Hermes. Are Herfix? Mark, yes. If nobody's saying disagree, but it's not an awkward question. But basically, I won't accept an attack on the union. Of course not. I'm here to protect those who are there. So I'm sorry if you feel that way, Mark. But ultimately, at the moment, we've answered the questions. I don't mind disagreement, but you're disagreeing for disagreeing's sake. So, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, you've not listened to any of the comments that Ed or I have put forward, and you've decided to go your own way. So that's all I can say on that front. I'm now going to return back to the main point that I was discussing before those came in, because I wanted to be clear and stop any fuzz or any noise in the background. There is a major problem over how insurance is treated at the moment and how we deal with this secondary policy that's in place, and whether the money that people are paying out for that policy is fit for purpose, and whether they understand that you really need to have a proper high reward insurance in place for when you're delivering parcels. Ultimately, I am concerned that the marsh insurance that is in place is not going to do that job. Now, I had hoped to have a facility on to deal with that this afternoon. unfortunately I can't get the system up to ask that, and there's no way of doing a proper show of hands. But what I am going to ask people to do on the London Region WhatsApp group is just tell us if they haven't got any third party, or if they've got a third party insurance, to let us know. I think we need to be getting out another notice and another discussion with the company. Ed, myself, Mick Ricks attended a meeting online with the company during the pandemic to discuss this. They then changed their insurer. I still don't think it's a fit for purpose policy. I'm deeply concerned. The fine that the individual received, I think, was it £300 or £600, Steve, or Ed?
600 something, was it, Steve?
£610 and 6 points on his licence. The point being, I'll try and clarify this. Yes, there is a bolt on insurance, but if you don't inform your insurance company that you're putting the bolt onto this insurance, some companies won't even entertain it. They say, no, we won't recognise it. There are a few that do recognise it, but you've got to tell them. If you don't tell them, you can't just presume, oh, I've got it from Hermes, I'm covered. Unless your insurance company knows that you have bolted this on, your insurance becomes invalid. It's as simple as that, unless you've got business hire and reward. That's the best way to go, I think. Business hire and reward, you're covered. But if you get this bolt on insurance and you do not inform your insurance company and you get stopped and you haven't informed them, it's null and void. That's the bottom line, basically.
Okay, but there are quite a lot of insurers out there who won't accept a secondary cover insurance.
Yeah,
I urge
exactly.
you, if you're on third party, to check with the insurer. Tracy has kindly said that she messaged Ed to advise that Admiral do accept Marsh insurance, which is one of the few. Ultimately, this is something to be careful of. I think Ed's just going to comment on this.
No, Tracy did, and Admiral seems to be the one that's coming through. But I just want to reiterate what Steve has said. But I also want to point out something that Couriers would jump on the bandwagon with. We should take them to court. We should sue them. It is not an illegal insurance. Let's make that clear to everybody. Those who are on Admiral, who accept it, who have it as a top-up, it is absolutely legal and above board, okay? So let's just get the facts right first. It is not illegal. Do I think it's fit for purpose? No, I don't. Okay. Now, I'll be honest with you. I have been fighting this for a number of years, right? I think there are too many clauses, loopholes that put you, the courier, at risk. Okay. The big one being that Steve has just said, you take this insurance, you're covered. CDM tells you that, off you go, delivering your parcels. That's not the case. Okay. You must have a conversation with your domestic insurer to tell them you are working as a courier and have a bolt-on insurance. Now, as Steve has said, they may decide they're not prepared to accept that. Please, I beg each and every one of you, if you are one of those couriers that hasn't spoken to your insurer, do not let this go. Okay? I suspect this courier had done the same, not had a chat with his insurer. I know somebody, and Mick worked very, very hard a few years ago. Somebody was actually blacklisted, right? They were told they were blacklisted against insurance. Now, that doesn't just affect your car insurance. That's home insurance, pet insurance, any insurance you want, okay? It is fit for purpose only if you speak to your domestic insurer, okay? I don't care what CDMs tell. Sorry, Steve, go on.
I was going to say, just something that's come up which is important. Tracy Loremans just said, look, who does she email to cancel? She's actually got courier cover, so she's duplicating the money out every week for that.
She shouldn't. Wow. She should, Tracy. You shouldn't be. You can cancel that. I think initially go to courier admin. If you don't get anywhere, Tracy, come to us and we'll chase it for you.
Kimberly, it could be that Admiral will insure you for third-party phone theft, and you then have to use the rider policy. So go back and see if they'll do that. There is something I just want to just quickly circle back to as well, because I know Nadine talked about protecting grounds. Just above that is a message. April, I don't know which region you're in. If you can send a message just later in this to let us know which region you're in, we will then deal with that accordingly. Um, but apparently. Andre saying you have to cancel it directly, so he may not.
Okay, thanks, Andre.
As far as I know, I think
do.
you have to contact marshals, show them your certificate that you've got business insurance or whatever. If you haven't got business insurance and you just got domestic and pleasure and it won't bolt on, they will not cancel it. They will only cancel it if your insurance company takes the bolt on, or you've got, as I say, business and hire and reward. I'm pretty sure you have to go to Marshall and produce your certificate. So
You
they
have to
can
show your
believe.
certificates.
Yeah.
That's
You do.
to show that you are suitably insured to work
Yeah,
as a courier.
exactly.
April, we've got you. I'll pass a message on to your regional organizer to make that happen. Going back to Craig's comment, I'm sorry, Craig. I realise it's tough for some out there. Nobody says any different here at the moment, and I think a lot of people are worried, especially because there were some high peaks. I do suspect as we come back into the winter, some of those will come back. So I'm mindful. So Lucas said that you cannot cancel without showing your documents to Marsh first. I think what was also what you've also said earlier, like wanting to see a document, we'll ask for that, and then once we've got a copy of that, we'll pop that up on the London group for everyone to see. I've no objection to that in any way, shape, or form. Now, I would actually say that one of the people who's making comment before actually doesn't really, from my perspective, act as a courier. So this was primarily for couriers, and I've now learned who they are. So I have actually muted them out of the conversation, and I just want to just return back to Mark. Mark, I don't mind disagreement, but I'm not here for people to try and upset the apple cart at the same time for no good reason. We're here to have a constructive discussion this afternoon. I'm here to serve the members of London Region. They find me, I hope, as accessible as Steve and Adam and Ed and Susie. I can't speak for how other people function or what they do, but part of the reason we have events such as this is to make sure that we're engaging with London Region membership and anyone else who wants to come across. So I'd like to say that. I would, if it's okay, just like to just change the to do that. Luke, we're going to ask. It's as simple as that. It's a takeaway from today's meeting. I want to just change subject and pace a bit, and I'm just going to bring in Adam initially. We are basically going to just talk briefly about the situation with carers, because there's a great many of you who are carers, and we're keen to try and increase the support for those who came for relatives, be they direct family members or sort of external members. Ultimately, we want to just touch on this. So I'm going to just mute out some of the other colleagues on this briefly, and then the others, I'll be able to see them wave at me if they want to come in and make some extra comment. But Adam, I thought firstly we'll talk about your personal situation, but also
Yes.
I've met a lot of single parents with family members who aren't just autistic. They've got senior citizens who are parents, young children with disability who do the role or who've chosen the Hermes role specifically because of what it should afford them, although it doesn't seem to be in every case doing it doing the sort of the right thing. So just before we go into that, if you are putting up questions on the side, I will try and return back to those during the broadcast. But I'm going to let Adam just tell you a bit now.
About myself. Well, firstly, let me apologise if my signal drops out because I'm having a bit of difficulty this afternoon. And but yeah, I as a courier and as a rep, I've got 2 disabled children and tried to make this fit around my life and how I do things. And normally there's a relatively amount of flexibility. I find increasingly that I have more and more couriers coming to me who have other commitments, like in the caring world, disabled children, elderly relatives, where they maybe don't have as much support or feel they're not supported by Hermes as much as they think they should be, or they can't speak to management, or they have issues where they say, well, look, I've got an issue because I've got to be, my days must finish at such and such so I can get back to my member of family to care for, and that's not possible due to a lorry being late in the morning, or being able to not get in depots, or things like, having issues or issues with apps and things like that crashing. It just seems to be more and more increasing for couriers out there that they're having things slowed down for them. Yeah, I mean, I have issues sometimes myself. I mean, it happens. So, anything else?
I think what I did want to make sure that we were touching on was the fact that not everyone has taken this job. We need to also be better, I think, at communicating the fact to the company itself that there are people who are here with various needs. And one of the things, although we set up a very small group with London, I know Susie is part of that group as well. We haven't really pushed as much as we could do. The need now ultimately is to make a big difference for those. So I want to start to do some work on projects on equalities and respecting family members and things like that. And I wanted to just bring this up for others here this afternoon. If you want to join that group, send me a private message on WhatsApp. We'll get you into that group. I know part of the reason Ed also sort of committed with this role was primarily because he had a senior who is a family member who basically needed him to be around for that. So wanted to just bring this subject up because it's something that is really important. And I think sometimes with everything else that we're dealing with, whether it's insurance or packet racket or late deliveries or anything like that, we need a we need a discussion about this as well, because I think it's just a very important part of the whole picture and why people are doing the job that they do. So I don't know if Ed has any more to add on this. Or
yeah, I think one of the things we've got to remember that a lot of couriers come into this business because it fits around their caring duties. I know, and again, it's sort of agreeing with Hermes that there is flexibility. I don't think it's as flexible as we'd like it to be, but there is flexibility. I, for one, I cared for my father who had Alzheimer's, and I had to be on call for my mum, so I could just stop delivering and go home and help with my father. Sadly, he passed away, and now I'll be honest with you, I stay around, so I'm close here. And in the area for my mum as well, who is not a youngster, shall we say? She'll kill me for saying that. But I think we need to remember that this can put a lot of pressure on a courier as well. Okay, sometimes I've seen couriers who snap at me. Then you have a conversation, and you find out they're under a lot of pressure to actually look after if another family member. They've got They've got a CDM shouting at them or another courier shouting at them. It really does put couriers under a lot of pressure as well, caring for people, as it does other people as well. I just think I bet, and I will put my neck on the block, there is more people in this job because they can care for a relative than we even understand. You know, because a lot of them, I mean, Adam and I know Susie and I are quite open about it. There will be a lot of couriers that work next to each one of you that do it quietly, silently, and nobody ever knows. You know, and they need support too. Okay, it is very much a hidden thing sometimes that they are caring, because people just get on with it. It's because it's what they have to do. But I bet there's many more couriers caring for a child, a parent, a grandparent even. I know a courier that does that, and they do it silently. So it's just something to bear in mind when we are dealing with couriers. And again, it's something I think, Steve, you're going to do some work on. And I think we as a union, and certainly us, and I will speak for Susie and myself, who are the chair and vice chair of the national committee, it's something I would like to do some more work on and look at how we can support those couriers.
I think it's really sort of an important aspect, which is part of the reason I wanted to bring it up this afternoon. I think this is probably the perfect time just to bring up what Christmas holiday and the extra days looks like. So anyone who doesn't get it or who's been asking questions about it can hear it this afternoon. And at the same time, we can also direct them back to this broadcast and where to look for it on the broadcast if they need a clear understanding of it, if that's okay, Ed. So could I ask you just to give a complete overview on that so people have some clarity?
Okay, so the comms has gone out. Now, you've seen all the holidays. Now, the two big questions that have arisen from that is that the 28th of December and the 3rd of January are bank holidays, and Hermes are saying they're not. Can I just clear that up? Hermes have never said that they are not bank holidays. Okay, what Hermes have said is, even though they are bank holidays, they're a normal working day. Okay, now a lot of couriers have come to us and said that's not fair and it's not right. I suspected that the comms wasn't correct, and let's face it, Hermes are not good at communicating with their courier base. They are not, right? Okay, and that's an issue that Mick raised with them, I have raised with them, Susie's raised with them, Steve's raised with them. Yeah, I suspected that the 28th and the 3rd would be voluntary. Now, the comms doesn't say that. So in a national meeting last week, I asked the question. And the answer came back very quickly, very clearly. The 3rd of January and the 28th of December are voluntary. Just as we've done before with previous bank holidays. Yes, it's a working day if you want to work it. And I just want to clear up, because again, there's some confusion about the holidays. And I booked a holiday, should I cancel it? If you booked a holiday for the 28th and you do not want to work, don't bother cancelling your holiday, because you would then do it, then you would not work under the voluntary bit. Okay? If you work, you will not lose any accrual and you will not receive holiday pay. You will receive the pay for the deliveries as you do any other day. Go on, Steve.
No, I was going to say, I was just going to, whilst you're touching on this, Kimberly said, do you know if we can carry any holidays forward at the end of the year? I know it's 6 last year because of COVID, so that might dovetail into some of this.
Right, okay. Yes, we can carry 6 days forward for next year at the end of the year. If you choose not to work on the 28th or the 3rd, you will be paid your holiday pay and you will lose a day's accrual. Okay. Bank holidays are part of our holiday system. It's been very clear from day one that that's how it works. It's there in the agreement. If anybody wants to just double check that Hermes aren't trying to swindle them out of holidays, that's how it's always been. So if you don't work, it's just a normal day for you. You will get paid your deliveries and collections. If you do not want to work, and it's voluntary, I will say that again, it is voluntary. Okay. So Craig's just asked, so the 28th is voluntary. Yes, Craig, it is voluntary. Yeah. Susie, you were with me in that meeting. Steve were in that meeting. You heard Connor say it, didn't you? The 28th and the 3rd are voluntary.
Just like previous years, yeah.
Just like previous years, okay?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, if you do not work, you get your delivery and collection pay. If you choose not to work, it's holiday pay and you lose a day's accrual. Does that clear it up for anybody? If anybody doesn't understand that or needs more information, our email addresses are there. Contact us, and we'll go through it again.
And just to say, you can also ask on the WhatsApp group if you're members. London members, just email me. You have my email address, and I'll put it up again during the broadcast if you need to reach out to me. I'm available. I can't answer Whoopi Kimberly, but Whoopi, there you go. So
I just want, if I can very quickly, Steve, I just want to come up with Craig there. He's put, I've got a holiday booked for the 28th. If I cancel it, he's moved. If I cancel it, I don't have to work it. Craig, it doesn't matter. If you do not want to work, right, cancel it, don't cancel it, it makes no difference. Because if you're not going to work, whether it's a booked holiday or you do it because you don't have to work because it's voluntary, you will get paid your holiday pay and lose a day's accrual. It makes no difference.
Okay. So the 27th and 28th is voluntary, Mark has asked.
No. The 27th is a network closure day.
We close, Mark. Yeah, these comms have gone out. 27th is closed. Nobody's working. You haven't even got an option to work because the network is closed. Gone, finished. Nobody will be working.
Okay, so just the 28th being voluntary. Yeah.
The 28th, they are saying, is a network open day, but it's voluntary.
Yeah.
Right. But Luke, if you find you have a problem with your CDM and they are forcing you or saying, and you've asked for it in writing, then ultimately reach out to your reps or your officer, so we can act on your behalf to get a solution on that front. Okay. Kimberly's asked, how many days bank holiday a year is taken in total?
Right. Can we forget sort of bank holidays a little bit, right?
Just general days we're going to talk.
Yeah. Everybody's assuming that a network closure day will be a bank holiday. Not necessarily. They may be bank holidays. Hermes could choose to put other ones in as well. I don't think they ever have done so far, because Hermes would want to work 365 days a year if they can. But it can be up to, I think it's 10 days in the agreement, can be taken as network closure days, which may be bank holidays.
Andre says, so those who want to book the holiday day, go for the 29th. So you get the 28th and the 29th, basically. Yeah. There you go, Andre.
Yeah. It's couriers wanting to avoid coming back the day after a bank holiday or a network closure day to backlog. So that would be the day to do it.
Okay, and I think this is you've mentioned backlog, and this is quite an important thing. It still comes up for those who are coming back on a Monday after the weekend where jobs haven't been covered. It's still an issue that we're not getting a perfect resolution on. I think there's some work. Also, Tracy's asked about Tanya's question. Let me just see if I can.
Just while you're looking for that question, Steve, just on this thing of backlog, okay? Right. People will tell me that in the agreement it talks about backlog. I will guarantee you it doesn't. Okay. In the agreement, in your contract, if anybody can tell me and show me where it says about backlog, then I'll quite happily tell you that I'm wrong. Okay. But they have to show me the agreement, not frequently asked questions, not comms. Agreement and contract, okay? Now, rounds aren't being covered correctly. We know that. Basically, I think every courier on this broadcast listening, who listen to it afterwards, knows absolutely there isn't enough cover couriers in the network to cover the holidays, okay? Now, my suggestion is that you as a self-employed person, right, if you want to take backlog, you take it, you earn more money. But can I just say something? You're all self-employed, right? That gives you the right to negotiate your pay, right? Now, I know couriers, and this is not just me saying it, I've never actually done it. There are couriers in this network saying, you want me to take that backlog? Pound a parcel. And I'm getting it, okay? Now, look, I'm not going to say it's something that's in writing, it's agreed, it's not. It's down to you, the courier, on the day, just saying, give us a bonus for that. And I'll tell you what, some of the couriers in this network have done some startling negotiations. I I know a courier who got £1.50 extra per parcel to clear a backlog of 95 parcels in this network. Right? So think about it, okay? Filter it in if you want to, and take the extra money, right? But the agreement is very clear. On the day you've booked holiday, you are not responsible for those parcels. Well, on the day you're on holiday, you're not, because you're not delivering them. But think how you handle the backlog. I think it will get better after peak, because the company are doing a lot of work on how they rebalance these rounds to sit with SE Plus couriers and have a bank of lifestyle couriers who will, I think, will get constant work covering holidays for the SE Plus couriers and picking up rounds that are down when we're off ill and things like that. I hope that sort of clears that up, Steve.
I want to answer Tanya's and then come back to some of the questions about this, just because it was much further up. Where do I stand? They want to take most of my full round. They're not giving any extra on my previous split round. It's not round balancing.
Right, Tonya. What I'm going to suggest you do, right? Has your CDM spoken to you? If you could just answer that question for me. I know you're online. If they have, right, and they're telling you that's what they're doing, okay, get in touch with your rep. Because I look, it's not going to be perfect. I don't think it will end up being perfect across the entire network. I've already got some couriers that have come to me and said, look, they're taking 17 roads or something off my round. It's nearly 3/4 of the round. We need to have a conversation, okay? Somebody's got some postcodes actually in the middle of another round. We need to have a conversation, right? And the company have never said we can't have a conversation if we think something's wrong, okay? Right? I think on the whole, the balancing will be as the company wants it. I think there will be anomalies in that where couriers look and say, look, you've left me with 20 parcels, but don't forget, this looks as if it's going to be another very busy peak. So where they're taking parcels off you, your volumes are going to go up quite quickly. That's what the company is saying. We need to monitor it with couriers who are facing problems, okay? Because to balance rounds that are rounds of 19 parcels and make other rounds of 19 parcels, then that's not correct. And again, we need to have a conversation, and your reps can do that for you.
Just to come back in, both Nadine and Kimberly have mentioned that they're only getting 18 days. Yeah, that's right. I'm afraid. I think you can see that there. Kimberly said it took actually 10 days before her backlog went out. Andre said he got actually £150 for his backlog.
Well done, Andre.
So seeing a lot there. And then Paula said basically Super Sundays last year were optional. I only did 2 of them. Since the CDM I had didn't communicate very well at the time. Looks like they haven't advertised them this year, or
the payments haven't been talked about yet. No, we're hoping to do that shortly.
Okay, so Luke's asked the same question on Super Sundays. Kimberly said she was offered 20p. Must be my negotiating skills. Well, it might be Kimberly. If you think that they're trying it on a bit, then refer back to the other rates. If not, come to Steve Good, Adam, or myself, and we'll see what we can do to see what they can do and push. Tracy Beeson said that Thurrock they're being shafted again. Unfortunately, Thurrock seems to be you lose one CDM and another one comes in. They're like buses. They're not. They come clumped up and not so good sometimes. So I'm sorry about that. And apologies to Mike Tinian for that bus commentary. So there we are. Luke, yes, maybe the rounds have changed for good. I couldn't speak for that because it varies from sub to sub. So there we are. Right now, I think we've covered that off quite well in terms of getting that out clearer. I did say, although we're slightly behind, that we would talk about the whole packet racket situation or packets, and I understand from some of the discussions I've had that part of the situation is with packets that there are more entering into the network than were before. Whether they are weighed and priced correctly is the bigger issue here. I've already called out certain companies over what's considered laughably a postable when it's the size of a bloody washing machine in the past. And there's still work to be done on this. But I think the best way to qualify what's going on, what the union's doing, and what engagements are going on this is probably Ed, because he's working on a more national level on this.
Okay, I think the first thing we need to do before we talk about this is we need to separate two issues. One is the packet racket, which we're all aware of, where companies send something through, as you've just said, Steve, a washing machine, and it's 0.00001 grams on the label. That's the packet racket. Okay, that is ongoing, and we are challenging it as best we can. Okay, right. It's going to be a long battle. I'm not going to sit here and lie to members and say, "Oh, we can sort it." It's going to be a difficult fight. Okay, right, for the packet racket. The company are looking at putting processes in place. How long that will take, we've got to work with them. Okay. I think the other issue at the moment is, and I think it's an issue that is starting to really hurt couriers, is the ratio of packets that are coming into the business. Okay. Now, I'm not going to reveal too much information on this, and I'm going to be very honest why. Okay. I asked, myself and Susie asked couriers to fill in a spreadsheet recently that told us their packets, standards, and what their price per item was off their manifest. Okay. We have done a lot of work on those figures, right? Now, those figures have given us some weaponry, if we want to call it that, to actually fight in the pay claim. So I'm not going to sit on here and reveal what I've told or what I need to then fight with the company. I'm not going to give them a heads up on that, and I would be stupid to do that. Okay. What we do know from those spreadsheets, and thank you to everybody who sent them in, what we are saying is we now know specifics on the rate that the packets have increased, the ratios increased, and how it's affected our pay. I think you all know the answer. We have now got it down, and we will share it when we finish with the pay claim. It's just, I would be foolish to warn Hermes and give them all the answers before I actually go into a negotiation meeting. Okay. We have now asked couriers. Sorry, go on, Steve.
No, I was going to say, no, continue on for the moment, and then because there's some other questions that come up, we'll merge it all in actually.
The second thing we've asked couriers to do, right, and again, thank you to those who have trusted us with your information and have took the time to send your invoices in. We've asked couriers to send us the last 6 invoices. Okay, now there's only me and Susie are going to see those. Okay. But it then allows us, the last spreadsheet you did, it just gives us figures on package and your price per item, okay? What we're now doing is we want to actually see how it affects you in pounds and pence, okay? Which is absolutely vital that we have all that information when we go in to pay negotiations, which are already ongoing and started. But I don't want to go into a pay negotiation and the company know a lot of figures. They have the figures, right? They will throw graphs at us. They will throw figures at us. And I don't want to sit there going, okay, I've got nothing. That's why I've come to you, the couriers, right? And Susie is an absolute genius with figures, right? We already have, and we have already used some of the information within the pay negotiations, and it's made the company sit up and think. That is your information that you provided to us. That's what it's for. We're not just looking at these and it's something to do. Believe you me, it's took a lot of time. Okay. So I think we've got to separate the two things. There is the packet ratio, which is crippling us at the moment. Okay. And I'm not sure that's going to go away quickly. That is why within the pay deal, we want an increase on the packet rate, right? And we've laid that down, and Mick has put comms out to you all. Mick has absolutely been very clear, as have we all. We want a raise in the packet rate. Okay, we've not gone, oh, well, can we? No, we want what we've asked for. Okay, it was what you asked for. It's what went in the pay deal, and we're going to use the information you give us to actually hammer that home. Okay. I hope that clears up. The packet racket, look, we know it's ongoing. We will fight it. We were fighting it with the next hanging garments in the last national meeting. We've produced evidence to the company. They're now going to go and challenge their client managers. That's how it's got to work. The answer to that is upgrade. Okay, if everybody in this network upgraded, and now I am going to say something very specific here, only upgrade the ones that need upgrading, right? Do not start upgrading all packets like some people have been doing, okay? Upgrade the ones that are not packets and should be standard. If everybody did that in this network, Hermes would move on at a pace to get all these new systems in place because it would be costing them a fortune. And don't forget, I know people say we shouldn't be doing it. I agree. I absolutely agree. We should be paid right for what we do, okay? I would never dispute that. But there is a system in place to compensate you if you aren't. Okay? Hope that helps.
Yeah. So obviously, there's a lot of people saying sort of flat rate pay, and like there's also Kimberly and Paul who asked about having sent invoices or commented. Kimberly, I think any extra data on this is beneficial. Obviously, there's a thing, big guns in GMB need to fight the packet, not the web. Well, I can tell you, even from London Region's perspective, I know you're based in Wales, I've made my commentary quite clear to the company on this. The NJC are dealing with this. Do that. GMB organisers, don't we have an NJC? I've got Mick Wicks who goes in to these negotiations, and then obviously regional reps obviously oversee an area. Luke, I don't know if you're based in London Region or not.
No, Luke's based in Wales, Steve.
Right. So, Luke, you won't know London Region where it stretches from. It's a considerable area with a large catchment. It goes all the way over from Norfolk, all the way over towards Milton Keynes, all the way down towards the edge of Slough, all the way into Essex and across, and then into London. It is a substantial region, and the work that I do as an officer, just to give you an idea, doesn't just feature on Hermes. It's also on Yodel, Metroline buses, Uber, which you'll be aware. I was one of the authors of the deal for that, starting back to my work in 2012 on Uber, private hire and taxi, Bid and Best Food, who do your food deliveries for Pret a Manger and KFC, down to the Co-op Wincanton folk, and more, even the local council. So ultimately, that's part of the work I do. There is a point, I did see the flat rate commentary just before, but obviously it really varies. Where you're working, what you're doing, and I am concerned, obviously, that rural couriers are not always seeing what they can. We have got a situation, as an example, at Hemel, where some couriers are going a longer distance and receiving less than some who are going shorter distance, and I've asked for it to be fixed, and I'm really starting to lose my rag. The company's had plenty of heavy duty emails from me, to the chagrin of some people, I think, because my emails aren't exactly for the light of heart. And I believe you me, I use media as much as I can to put on companies when they don't behave. Just to say that this isn't a happy clappy meeting. We're here to discuss and cover off points as best we can. Not everyone is going to be happy with all of the answers that we get, but this was a matter that need to be these Paula Finlayson's put up a very interesting point. There were supposed to be rain covers or pop-ups provided, and I've seen very little evidence of these on the site visits I've made. I don't know. So Steve Good's probably going to say something on this because I can see him.
You don't have to talk to me about rain covers. We are a main depot and we are now loading outside. We have got no rain covers whatsoever. I haven't even seen a rain cover. I think they're a figment of their imagination. I really do. But yeah, it's ongoing. We're fighting a battle with them now. Basically.
Okay, so look, everyone, they've got them in West Hallam, so April will come and nick yours, shall we? Can I just say I was able to see the film that was sent through earlier this week, and also I do want to touch on health and safety in a minute, actually, but the film that was sent through of parcels and packets out in the pouring rain at the head of the week. Frankly, to expect people to be working outside in those conditions is bad enough, but to then have to take the parcels onto somebody's home and explain to them why their item is not looking at its best is wholly unreasonable. The company, I realise, the company find it very difficult to find adequate warehouse space, primarily because a lot of people on sites complain about the parking situation, which means DUCs get it in the neck from other warehouses or businesses in the vicinity. But ultimately, the company has to think about this better. I know we had a situation where people were literally leaving one depot and having to park round the corner to sort their parcels on the street. It's not right. It's not acceptable. Frankly, I expect people to be able to work in reasonable conditions. If they can't, please pass the message on to me, because again, it's something I can't accept as a reasonable behaviour. When if they are saying we're in business together, it's got to be an equal partnership in terms of the behaviours and the expectations. So this is something. Paula said they're obsolete now. Well, I think frankly we need something better. There's something that's just come up.
Martin, Martin, can you just post your DU, please? If you get a chance, or contact us privately if you don't want to. Email me privately.
Yeah,
I'm going to follow that through.
And Tegwin, if this is the situation over this free sorting, I did at the end of the broadcast comment on this. It is wholly illegal to be doing this. People shouldn't be sorting for free. You come to work to be paid, not to do it as a favour, not to be able to get around early. It shouldn't be used as a carrot or stick. And from my perspective, I'll happily go anywhere. Martin's private message you. Certainly, Craig.
Thank you, Martin, for that.
Craig, if you're in London region, please message me or message your regional officer. The cages topple over. Nadine, again, reach out to us on this. I don't know if you're London based. If not, drop me a line, drop a line on the WhatsApp group, drop a line to Steve. Here's the thing Craig said, if it isn't sorted for free, then none of us would start. I realise this is part of the problem. The late starts where sort isn't done. However, that is down to the company. I understand Steve has been acting for certain DUCs where the company has not given them the pay that they should do. He's been to two separate DUCs. Nadine, you're in Wells, which should be southwest region. I think so. You'll need to reach out to your southwest region rep. Ed will be able to tell you who that is.
What region? Sorry.
Wells, which is southwest.
Wales is Jason Burrow. I think you all know Jason. He's on your WhatsApp group.
Nadine, if you haven't, just drop a message through to us.
I will give you Jason's.
Yeah. Okay.
email.
Ultimately, we want to make sure everyone gets all the protection they should do on this, but it shouldn't be happening. So I think that's fair to say. We're going to finish off shortly, but I know I harp on about it, but I just want to remind you about some of the other values from the union as well. Please bear in mind there is free will writing. Um, uh, Tegwin, I can assure you I'm heavily involved in the free sorter issue. Really, really involved and very invested in it. Um, so part of the reason this has become such a serious thing is because of commentary in a previous broadcast and discussions. Mick Richter's also made his point. Believe you me, I'm happy to get HMRC, police, and other authorities involved where and our legal team where this sort of thing comes up. I don't shy away from a legal battle. I don't think I could ever be accused of that somehow. Um, I want to just talk about this other aspect though that we have. I know I've talked about it on a couple of occasions in the past. If you are out there and you are physically assaulted by a member of the public or an animal that they might have, then we have a union line and you can make a claim against these individuals. Use it, it's there for your benefit. It is there to protect you. We've already got claims ongoing now for couriers where we didn't have before the knowledge that this was an issue, and we want to make sure that people know that they've got the protection that they need in these instances. It is clear that it is a daily occurrence. We've also had a couple of couriers in London region where they have been threatened physically by members of the public or people they're delivering to. And in one case, the company wasn't all it should have been on this. I won't take this sitting down. The commentaries being made by myself and others in relation to this and my expectations on the company. If they don't follow them through, then I will act to punish as best I can. And Luke said we walked out in Penzance due to free sorting, punished by Hermes ever since. I can't speak for Penzance because it's not in my region, Luke. But all I can tell you is I'm sorry to hear this. The point is anything where you need to get proof, and I'll say this to everyone who's on this afternoon. If you can't diarise something, make a WhatsApp message to yourself or email yourself with the event. Email yourself a message so you've got a complete diary of everything that goes on. Even if you create an extra Gmail address that is concerns or complaints at gmail.com. So you're emailing yourself anything that happens. So when you've got to discuss it with anyone, you can show the catalogue. It's the best way in any instance to make sure you've got something concrete to come back with to show this. I recommend it to anyone. And that's a key. I'm mindful that we've already been going an hour and a quarter, and I realise it's everyone's Sunday afternoon, which I'm really grateful for you taking time out to engage with. We will run another Sunday package in the future. I'm mindful as we get towards peak, it may potentially have to be the other side of the year because there's some other broadcasts I also need to make sure I engage on for some of my other members. But we are available as an officer. You'll probably know that I don't work a standard week, and I often am working, and taking emails literally 7 days a week. Although from time to time I do need some downtime, I try and act very quickly on anything that comes in when I see it. I just quickly go around everyone just to see if they've got any other comments or observations on the group. If I start based on what I see on my screen, which is Adam first, and then go round.
No, I'm quite happy. I will say something about when we discuss about rain covers. I have got rain covers at my depot, but we've only got 5. And as you know, we're on a pig farm. The rain covers, when we have used them, they have turned the should we say a cage into an instrument of damage. They actually, because we're quite open where we are, it actually just blows them around and I've seen it hit somebody's vehicle who they're no longer with us, and they're not an SE plus, or they're only in for a temporary time, but they're not safe in certain depots, I think, in some cases.
Okay. Ed, any questions or points?
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, I want us to all pull together on these issues we're facing. Please do not sit there, and I know some of you do, and you're very heavily critical of us. I have no problem with that. You can hold us to account, but what I will say is, we are working hard in the background. We are not ignoring your issues. Okay, we are. I mean, I even yesterday contacted Connor, and I want while this app is not working, I've asked for the ETA and SOS to be extended again, so your pay is protected. I will chase that down tomorrow because that has to be done. Okay, we can't have couriers not being paid because of this app that just it still isn't fit for purpose. If you've got app issues, feed them into me. I can then feed them into the company. We were accused of being beta testers. We're not. All we need to do is make sure that the company know what the issues are so they can fix it. I think that's about it from me, Steve. If you have problems, contact your national rep. That's what we're here for. Or people like Steve, who are, as Steve said, he works, nigh on 7 days a week. And just one quick message, April Gard, I am your rep. So if you want to drop me a line, please do. Over to you, Steve, I think.
Yeah. Just to make it easy, there was a comment about trying to contact Union 9. Union 9 is not perfect at the moment, any way, shape or form. I've put an email address in the commentary with the email address for Union 9. It should show up on Facebook and YouTube. Try that. If not, please reach out to your regional officer and find out what's going on. Now, I would also say that some regions don't have the access to Union 9 that London region has, where a member can call Union 9 directly. But if you feel there is an issue, fill that in and try and copy in your regional officer, and they should engage on this. Tegwin, yes, it is a pig farm. Trust me. Quite a few of us have been there. You don't want to have the slurry on your feet when you get back into the car. It's you want to wash it off the mats afterwards. It's so that anyway. It is what it is. It's important. Chris has said that Nadine, it's max 4 rounds, 5 or more. Yeah. There's a question over minutes for regional and national meetings. Normally, just to let you know, for our meetings, we get action points or that need response back on rather than 4 minutes. So that's how we work. It's what we've asked them to look at and what solutions they found. So we find out. That's normally what we see. I can't speak for other meetings. I can only speak for the ones that I have at a regional level. And then there's the app issue, battery draining. Unfortunately, this app still isn't quite there.
It's not there. No, it's not, Steve. It really is.
And this is, Tegwin, I don't know how much more transparent we could have been this afternoon. I think we've tried to answer every question. Everything's come up. I've tried to answer as many as we can in the time that we've got allotted. I know we've still got Susie and Steve to go. Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
Just one thing, and again, Luke's raised it yet again. We have asked for evidence and we have asked for proof. Now, this is an ongoing battle, right? So we need that constant supply of information because things are changing. If I take your wages from last year, and use that as evidence when I asked for them then, do you think they'd be relevant to today? They're not. This is an ongoing battle. It's a battle that we intend to win. So we do need up to date, and we will continue to ask for evidence, and we will continue to ask for data. It's to help you, every one of our members. Thanks, Dave. I just wanted to clear that up.
No, it's good to say. Steve, good. Any commentary or anything to say?
Not really. I think we've covered it all. I just want to say that, if you've got problems, email me, Adam or Steve. And if you can't get hold of us, then go further afield. Ed or Susie will pick it up. we will deal with it as far.
No. I mean, I've already put
Too far for me to travel, Steve.
No,
we're all here.
Ed and Susie should
Yeah.
only be a last resort where
Yeah.
it's something highly technical that I might not be able to answer. Please bear in mind. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs. Now, for those of you who don't know, I was a driver for 30 years, but I was moving, if you like, human freight because I was a chauffeur, so I was doing airport and port transfers. So that's slightly different. And I can tell you still, I faced assault and all sorts of other things. So it's not, a fractured hand, oil cans over the head. If it's that, Luke, if you don't think the union is union not fit for purpose, as I'm not really thrilled with it, you act to change it. And what we're doing at the moment is making sure that where there's faults in it, it's now being looked at by a task force to create changes. Some serious changes going to happen. If we don't have Union 9, then we would have nothing. Where it really matters in the cases where I need to make sure they go through, I make sure they get forced through. I can tell you just in a few days' time, unless a settlement comes through, I will be at tribunal with Yodel based on that. I've run, obviously, the Uber case, which has cost the union substantial money, Addison Lee, Hertings, and many others I've been up against. So, frankly, we've got Union 9 and the solicitors of the union specifically for that. However, when people can't reach solicitors or paralegals to speak to, I have a problem with that, and it needs a solution. That is why I'm saying it, Luke. You want transparency, you want honesty. I'm just telling you. That's where we are. Paul, I don't know about a whistleblowing line that's being stated by Connor. You have to forgive me. Ed or Susie might be able to answer on that.
Yeah, they are going to set up a whistleblowing hotline for all sorts of things. It was partly to do with the pre-sorting. I will get you the details, Paula. And just a quick one, Andre. Quick reminder: send your invoices to Susie. She's the numbers girl. My mind goes blank when I see all them numbers. Susie's the lady.
I'm just going to, just along the base, you'll see coming along on the ticker tape Ed's and Susie's email address. I know they're showing on the screen as well. Susie, I don't know if you've got any comments. I know you've been like the biggest jabber boxing this afternoon. We haven't been able to get a word in edgewise with you, but...
I'll just ignore you, Steve. I'll just ignore you.
Yeah, punch me anytime you want.
Not really, just like... We need these invoices. The more people that send these invoices in, the better it is for us to go and fight your corner. If I only get one invoice in, I can only base our attack on one invoice. I need as many as possible to do a 4-pronged attack. So the more people that send these invoices in to me, the better. And if I can have them in tonight, even better. And Andre's just asked again, full invoice or front page. I need the full invoice for each month. So the last 6 periods, and I need the full invoice. I need data from the front sheet, and I need data from the back sheet, and data from the middle.
Yeah, Paul, if you could get them onto Susie, that would be the best bet.
I think I've got Paula's. So fine, Paula. No, that's fine. I've got yours, Paula. Me and Susie are working together on it anyway, so... It's just I'll be honest with you, the reason I often put Susie's mailbox is mine's often full and I don't want people to get a bounce back. Susie's isn't.
I empty mine quicker. That's why.
Yeah.
That's all good. So ultimately, I just want to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. I realise that not everyone is over thrilled with everything I said today. I realise we've had questions that may not be giving you the answers that you would like. Unfortunately, we're trying our level best to make sure that the quality of life that you have is all it should be, and we'll continue to work. I'm obviously, as you know, available for anyone who needs to reach out to me within the region, and we'll continue to be for the moment. And if there's more you need, come to us. If there's somebody you think needs a voice, let us know. And ultimately, the one thing I want to say is, look, please be safe out there. Um, you know, whatever we can do to assist, we will do. We are mindful about trying to make sure that you have the best quality of life possible. All I'll say now is sort of have a great week ahead. Hopefully the run up to Christmas will not flatten you all dead, and hopefully the weather, although they're talking about Arctic clouds and everything else, will be there. I am mindful we haven't really touched on fuel this afternoon and the problems that it's presenting. And I'm just wondering if, before we finally sign off, anyone wants to just make comment on this, just because I am mindful that there are problems and a lot of people having to wait on. We've made, by the way, representations as a union. Mick and I got together and he sent a letter into the Department for Transport last week where they wrote back saying there's no problem whatsoever and all is well. If you get into serious difficulty and can't get fuel, let us know if you're getting pressure. I want you to feel that somebody's pressuring you. It shouldn't be happening, but nonetheless, it is potentially happening. Tegwin's asked, what about Kimberly's chicken? But if not, we're cooking some here this afternoon, so she's welcome to come over. Anyone else want to comment on fuel before we sign off? That doesn't seem so. Oh, look, thanks.
Look,
sorry, Ed, go ahead.
I was just going to say, look, I think me and Susie, look, unfortunately, have been travelling the country, as has Steve, on our national meetings. We were really worried about getting back from our national meeting. We made it. I think what we've seen travelling up and down the country is it is starting to settle down. I think there's then the bigger issue that we need to all talk about at some point. Is the cost going up, which I think, again, the National Committee will be having a chat with Mick and how we look at that to support our couriers and our members.
Well, look, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. It's really appreciated for you to taking out your Sunday, and obviously, please send us information about issues. We can only go with that. For those of you who aren't in London region, you have got regional offices you can reach out to as well as your reps. If you're finding there's an inertia in any way, shape or form, let another rep know, let Rick know. If need be, Rick should I say myself, if need be, and I can try and at least get in touch with them. Obviously, Luke, Ed is not your main port of call. If you have
Jason.
It's Jason is your main port of call. Okay. I'm going to try and pick this apart too much, but obviously, I, Adam and Steve for London region will, generally act on something literally on the same day. I can't speak for other regions and how they operate. I can't speak for Jason, but I'm only talking. This is in effect a London region event, so I want to make sure that people know that. Will photos of invoices be okay to send? I would imagine they will be, as long as they're the full invoice.
As long as I can read them. As long as I can read them, it's fine.
That's the key, right?
Yeah.
Look, thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and please feel free to join the next event, even if you're not from London region. We can only do this with you as members, and once again, look, just hearty thanks, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
From sunrise until sunset, and dusk until dawn, every minute of every hour of every day, on the front line, it's key workers keeping our country moving, putting themselves at risk to keep others safe, for the vulnerable, for the sick, for the young and the old. We rise to the challenge. We care, we protect, we help, we fix, we deliver for everyone. We will get through this. And it's thanks to our key workers. We're proud to represent heroes. And not all heroes wear capes. Key workers deserve recognition, protection and support. Get us on your side. Join us today.